All right, so what we have here is the mature follicle or Graafian follicle. It contains our secondary oocyte that's going through meiosis II, but is stuck in metaphase II. Okay, so at this point, we get a surge of LH, and that spawns or stimulates ovulation. And this follicle has like it's secreting all this fluid in that antrum, this antrum here. And there's a lot of pressure in there. It's pressure is building and building. So it kind of explodes. And out comes the secondary oocyte. So the secondary oocyte comes out. There's a little 1N. And here's the outside of it. Still has its zona pellucidum in here. Right, it's got the corona radiata. So the secondary oocyte gets barfed out into the abdominal cavity, and it gets sucked up, brushed up into the fallopian tube. In the fallopian tube, it travels, it bounces down the tube toward the uterus. And somewhere in there, the oocyte, once it's out there, only lasts about 24 hours. Okay, so we're stuck in meiosis II. The only way to complete meiosis II is to be fertilized. So it goes into the fallopian tube and waits for sperm. Okay, so what happens to the follicle? So the follicle is important. And the follicle itself, it explodes and sort of deflates like a balloon. So we have our granulosa cells like that, The thecal cells are still there. And it's just deflated like a balloon would. Okay? But this follicle now has an important function. It becomes the corpus luteum. And the corpus luteum is key if the primary oocyte runs into a sperm and gets fertilized, because that baby will be kept alive through hormones produced by the corpus luteum. So hormones are produced here that keep the baby alive initially. Okay, so how does this occur? Now we have the secondary oocyte, and again, it is not an ova. It is not an ova until it is fertilized. So we have this secondary oocyte bouncing down in the fallopian tube towards the uterus. And again, it's only around for 24 hours. So it's got 24 hours to somehow meet up with a sperm to finish meiosis. So it's a wonder anybody gets pregnant at all. But the sperm, they have their own little mechanisms for making this happen. So we need to talk about that.